Hello Aries, thank you for joining me today. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus for February. As always, remember, if it doesn't resonate, just take what does fit and throw the rest away. Let's just jump right in, shall we? Alright, so this is Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus for February. Cards here and see what we come up with. Start with the Seven of Pentacles. That's too many. Try that again. Queen of Cups. Emperor. That is your card. I think there's one here that's upside down. There we go. Ten of Pentacles. That's promising. All right. Let's take a look. All right. So we're going to look at this like a story unfolding rather than four separate cards. This reading has a very steady growth, meets emotional wisdom kind of energy. The Seven of Pentacles opens the conversation by saying you're in a waiting phase, but not an empty one. This card shows someone who has already put in real effort and is now stepping back to evaluate. Think of planting a garden and checking the soil weeks later. Nothing dramatic is happening above ground yet, but the roots are forming. Okay. In everyday life, this can show up as wondering whether a job, relationship, or long-term goal is worth the continued investment. You might be asking, is this going anywhere, or do I need to change my approach? Okay. Next comes the Queen of Cups. All right. And she softens the entire reading. She suggests that while you're evaluating progress, you're also being asked to lead with emotional intelligence. This isn't about cold logic or impatience. It's about tuning into how something feels. For example, if you're assessing a relationship, this card asks, does this nourish me emotionally, or if it's even moving slowly, or even if it's moving slowly, pardon me. Or if it's a career path, you might ask yourself, does this align with who I am, not just what looks good on paper? The Queen of Cups reminds you to be compassionate with others and with yourself during this waiting period. And then we get the Emperor, and this is where things solidify. The Emperor brings structure, authority, and long-term planning. After reflecting on the Seven of Pentacles and feeling your way through the situation with the Queen of Cups, the message becomes it's time to take control and set clear boundaries or rules. This could mean committing fully to a plan, stepping into leadership, or defining what you will and won't accept. For instance, you might decide to formalize a business idea, set firm expectations in a family matter, or maybe taking responsibility for building something that'll last rather than drifting emotionally. And then finally we have the Ten of Pentacles, which brings a very reassuring conclusion. This card speaks of long-term stability, legacy, and shared success. It's not quick wins. It's the kind of security that benefits not just you, but others around you. In practical terms, this could look like building a career that supports your family, creating traditions, investing in a home, or establishing emotional and financial security that stands the test of time. It suggests that the patience, emotional wisdom, and disciplined leadership shown earlier do pay off. So putting it all together, this reading is saying that what you're working toward is worth the wait. You're being asked to balance patience with empathy and then step into a role of authority over your own life. If you do that, the outcome isn't just success, it's lasting stability. Think less overnight breakthrough and more a life that feels solid, supported, and meaningful 5 or 10 years from now. So in short, tend what you've planted, trust your emotional compass, take ownership of the structure, and you're building something that lasts. All right, so let's see if we can clarify a little bit further what this looks like. Okay, so clarify please the Seven of Pentacles for my Aries. Clarifying the Seven of Pentacles. Oh my, that was much too much. That was me being clumsy again. I do have clumsy hands. I would get better. Just sometimes the cards feel like there we go, a little too big. So we have Justice and the Lovers, clarifying Seven of Pentacles. So this clarification adds a really important layer, okay, to the Seven of Pentacles. With Justice and the Lovers clarifying it, the weighting and evaluation shown in the Seven of Pentacles isn't just about time. It's about a choice that must be made honestly and fairly. Okay? Justice says this pause exists because things need to be weighed carefully. You're being asked to look at the situation without wishful thinking or emotional bias and ask, is the effort I've put in being matched? Is this truly balanced? Am I getting back what I'm given? Or giving, sorry. This could involve accountability, either yours or someone else's. In real life, this might look like reviewing the facts before committing further, checking whether a partnership is equitable, whether a job truly aligns with your values, or whether expectations have been clearly defined. The Lover adds that this evaluation revolves around a significant choice tied to values or relationships, not just romance, but alignment. It's the kind of decision where continuing or walking away will shape the future. For example, you might be deciding whether to fully commit to someone after a long let's see how this goes phase, or whether to keep investing in a path that looks good externally but doesn't match your inner truth. So together, Justice and Lovers suggest that the Seven of Pentacles moment exists because the universe is waiting on your decision. Progress doesn't stall because of bad timing. It pauses because you need to choose consciously and ethically. Once the choice is made, things can move forward cleanly. Okay, so basically, looking at it overall, the Seven of Pentacles becomes a crossroads, not just a waiting room. Okay. So in short, what we're seeing here is don't just wait. Decide. The outcome you want is available, but only after you choose what truly aligns with your values and your sense of fairness. Okay. So let's clarify the Queen of Cups. Up here. Queen of Cups, please, clarifying. Eight of Wands, communication. Right, there we go. And the Eight of Pentacles. All right. So this is a beautiful and very telling clarification of the Queen of Cups. All right. The Eight of Wands and Eight of Pentacles show that the Queen of Cups here isn't passive, dreamy, or feeling simply things deeply, okay? Instead, she's emotionally engaged and actively investing energy and effort. The Eight of Wands brings speed, movement, and communication. Emotionally, this suggests feelings that are no longer sitting quietly under the surface. They're in motion. Conversations happen, messages are exchanged, decisions accelerate. If the Queen of Cups is about emotional awareness, the Eight of Wands says, now express it. For example, this could look like finally having an honest conversation, responding quickly where you once hesitated, or allowing momentum to build instead of overthinking. Excuse me. The Eight of Pentacles grounds that emotional energy into consistent effort. This isn't a burst of passion followed by burnout. It's steady, repeated work. In emotional terms, it can mean showing love through actions, listening carefully, adjusting habits, putting in the time to improve communication, or learning how to love better. In practical matters, it can also suggest dedicating yourself fully to something you care about, refining your skills because it matters to your heart, not just your wallet. So together, these two eights say that the Queen of Cups is choosing emotional maturity through action. Feelings aren't being ignored or indulged, they're being honored and worked on. For instance, instead of silently hoping a situation improves, you might actively engage, sending the message, scheduling the meeting, practicing patience daily, or consistently showing up even when it's uncomfortable. When placed back into the larger reading, this makes the message clearer. You've been evaluating a situation, the Seven of Pentacles, because a fair, value-aligned choice must be made. Justice and the Lovers, right? Once you tune into your emotional truth, things start moving quickly, okay? But that movement only sticks because you're willing to put in real effort. This prepares you for you to step into authority with the Emperor, to build lasting stability with the Ten of Pentacles. So in short, your emotions aren't asking you to wait. They're asking you to engage, communicate, and do the work. When you do, progress follows swiftly. So let's clarify now the Emperor. Clarifying the Emperor, please, for our Aries. We have the Ten of Pentacles again. Interesting. Clarifying, there we go. And strength. Interesting. So this clarification really deepens the Emperor, okay? It shows how authority is meant to be expressed and why it works. With the Ten of Pentacles and strength clarifying the Emperor, this isn't about control for control's sake. It's about leading with quiet confidence in service of long-term security. Strength tells us that the Emperor's power is internal, not forceful. This is emotional regulation, patience, and calm courage. Instead of demanding obedience or forcing the outcomes, the Emperor holds steady. Think of someone who doesn't need to raise their voice to be taken seriously, or a leader who sets boundaries gently but firmly, and people respect them because they feel safe. In practical terms, this could be choosing restraint over reaction or consistency over intimidation. The Ten of Pentacles explains the purpose behind that strength. Everything the Emperor is doing is for longevity and legacy. Decisions are being made with the future in mind. Family, stability, shared success, or something that lasts beyond immediate gratification. For example, this could mean making a hard but loving choice to protect long-term security, investing time and resources into something that benefits others, or establishing structures that will support growth for years to come. Together, these cards say that the Emperor here leads by protecting, providing, and enduring. Authority comes from responsibility, not dominance. Strength keeps the Emperor compassionate and grounded. The Ten of Pentacles ensures the results are lasting and meaningful. When you step back and you look at the full spread now, you pause to elevate the Seven of Pentacles, evaluate, because a fair, balanced choice was required. You followed your emotional truth and acted on it with communication and effort. And then you stepped into your power, not aggressively, but with patience and inner resolve. And this leads directly to the lasting security and fulfillment of the Ten of Pentacles. So the big message, real power comes from self-mastery and long-term vision. When you lead with calm strength and clear structure, you're not just building success, you're building something that can sustain you and others for the long haul. So let's clarify one more here, the Ten of Pentacles for my Aries. Please clarify. Let's see what's being said here. One. We have wands. Okay. One more, please. earth signs. Okay, let's take a look here. All right, so this clarification beautifully rounds out the entire reading and explains how the Ten of Pentacles is achieved and sustained. With the Queen of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles. Okay, right here. Clarifying this Ten of Pentacles, long-term stability doesn't come from luck or inheritance. It comes from the fusion of passion and perseverance. The Queen of Wands brings confidence, warmth, and visionary energy. She believes in what she's doing or what she's building. This is someone who shows up boldly, inspires others, and leads with enthusiasm. In real-life terms, this could look like being the emotional and motivational center of a family or project, the person who keeps the vision alive when things get dull or difficult. She reminds us that a legacy needs heart and belief, not just structure. Now, the Knight of Pentacles, on the other hand, is the definition of reliability. He moves slowly, methodically, and never abandons the task. Where the Queen of Wands says, "This is possible, let's do it," the Knight of Pentacles says, "I'll show up every day until it's done." Practically, this might be consistent saving and investing, showing up to work even when motivation dips, or maintaining traditions and responsibilities year after year. Together, they say the Ten of Pentacles is built by showing up with both fire and discipline. Passion without follow-through wouldn't last. Routine without inspiration would feel empty. This pairing balances both. All right? So, placed with the full narrative of the whole spread, you evaluated and chose wisely. You acted with emotional truth, with communication and effort. You stepped into steady, compassionate authority. And now you see the maintenance of that legacy, confidence and warmth paired with unwavering commitment. So our final takeaway here, moving forward for the month of February, is that lasting security comes from believing in what you're building and being willing to do the slow, unglamorous work to sustain it. When enthusiasm and consistency walk side by side, what you create doesn't just succeed, it endures. So I hope you found this helpful, Aries. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and click that notification bell if you want to make sure to know whenever I upload new content. Otherwise, I'd like to wish you all the best for the month ahead, and we will see you again next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.